So how do I know if my medical cannabis is safe? That's what we'll discuss today on MCPA TV. Today's special guest on MCPA TV is a dear friend of mine, Mr. Cliff Osmond. He is the president and managing partner of Steep Hill, Mississippi. Thank you so much for being on the show with me today, Cliff. It's so important for us to reassure our audience that our patients will be receiving safe, clean products. Would you share a little bit of your personal journey as to what really made you feel like you wanted to make sure that Mississippi not only had a program, but a safe, clean products for our patients?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like a lot of people in this industry, I've got a personal story and a professional story.
Yeah.
And the professional story is, by education, I'm a pharmacist. I've been a pharmacist for a long time and been real involved in different organizations. I haven't truly practiced pharmacy per se in the way most people visualize that for a number of years, but I did that for a long time. And in the course of doing that, there were often patients that were not finding a therapy that benefited them. And, you immediately start to think about people with progressive cancers or PTSD or multiple sclerosis. And so they weren't finding a FDA-approved drug therapy that was meeting all their needs. And for most of my career, medical cannabis was not an option for them. But on the personal side, I had a family member. It was my mom, and she passed a few years ago for a brain tumor. She was in long-term care. She got diagnosed, and thank God it only took 2 months for that to take her. But the last 2 months were pretty hellish for her. And, she was in the Atlanta area in long-term care, right around the corner from my brother's church where he's a pastor. And, he asked me, he said, "Isn't medical marijuana sometimes an option for patients like Mom?" And I said, "It is, but you don't live in a state where that's legal."
Right.
So there's nobody at the long-term care center or on the hospice team that could give her that. So she can't have it. And so it's tough, as you know, from your story and your son's story, watching someone you love suffer and not be able to do something. And while medical cannabis or medical marijuana is not the answer for every patient, it is for some patients. And it seems to me, in a country where we talk about our freedom so much, that people ought to be free to decide if they want to try that as another option. And if it gives them relief and we can provide that to them safely, then let's do that. And so that's where we are now in Mississippi. We finally have a way for people to do that. And in a few months, we should have product available for them to take.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of my pillars that I've preached on for many, many months now is that I do believe patients should have medical freedom, the freedom to choose a safe, natural alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. Because sometimes those pharmaceutical drugs, just like for my son, they did not work for him, but medical cannabis did. And so everybody should have that freedom to choose medical cannabis or whatever works best for them.
As a pharmacist, I'd say it's not either or. You don't have to have traditional FDA-approved drugs or medical cannabis. Why can patients not use both? And, if they're coordinating their care through their care team, their physician or other provider, there's no reason why they can't try both. There may be, as pharmacists, I'm going to go back, there may be some times where there's a little bit of interaction, maybe some increased drowsiness or some risk like that. But adults should be able to learn those risks and be able to manage those. And if we're not driving or operating machinery or caring for babies, there's things that we can do to use medical cannabis to treat a number of conditions.
Absolutely. And, and then many of those patients will be able to return back to the workforce and be able to, contribute to society in ways that they did before, be able to work, to go out and have dinner and do the things that families want to do. And so it's incredible to know that they would be able to do that through potentially this one product being made available.
Yeah, and there's still public misperception about, the side effects of medical cannabis. But you get dose-related responses for every drug you use. If we're taking a medication for high blood pressure, if we take too much of it, our blood pressure is going to bottom out. And the same thing with medical cannabis. People can titrate their dose. By titrate, we mean get it to the right zone where they get enough effect without getting excessive side effects, so that they can work or can have a fulfilled personal life, or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. And so as a pharmacist, I'm sure you've heard the start low and go slow, the microdosing. So it's very important for people not to decide, oh, I can just take a lot at one time. We would encourage, from this side of the industry, the medical cannabis industry, just like a pharmacist, do it in moderation so that you can learn to know what's going to work best for your body.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be a lot of people to help give patient guidance. I mean, in the dispensary, there will be people that are knowledgeable about the particular products that they're selling. All patients are going to have a physician or another provider that has credentialed them, certified that they have one of the diagnoses, and they'll have them. And what happens in most states is there emerge other clinicians that kind of specialize in this area, whether it's physicians or consulting pharmacists or whatever, that can also guide patients when they need a little more depth, a little deeper dive into the issue.
Yeah. Cliff, thank you so much for joining us today. And I especially thank you, our viewers, for joining MCPA TV. I hope that you found this episode not only to be informative, but reassuring to know that our patients will be receiving safe, clean products because of testing. Please join us on our next episode, and to learn more information about MCPA, go to our website, follow us on social media, and of course, please share this video with your friends and family.